Hey guys, so in this video I wanted to address a comment that was left on a recent video. This person, I think their name is Felma, F-E-L-M-A. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And she wanted to know, I think it's a she, sorry if you're a guy. I don't mean to misgender you. So the question was, can you live off of a CNA salary for a husband and wife with no children? And this is a very kind of tough question to answer. One, because I don't know what area you live in. And two, I think it would kind of depend on like how you're living your life and the bills and things that you have to pay for in your life. I think that this would be kind of dependent on the person. So it also depends on the state that you live in, because working in different states, the pay or wages that CNAs receive is different from state to state, I have noticed. For example, when I started out as a CNA in 2016 in the state of Indiana, my very first job paid me $10.10 an hour to work full-time on evening shift on a memory care unit, a lockdown memory care unit. And about a year after I started there, I transferred to a hospital. I was working on an orthopedic unit that was pre and post surgical. We kind of had a few med-surg patients from time to time. But there I was getting $11.10 an hour to work night shift, so 11 to 7 at the hospital on the orthopedics unit. And the most that I got paid was working agency as a CNA, where I could kind of make my own schedule, and that definitely helped. But that schedule, I was, making my own schedule, like I said, but I was making like $16 an hour, and that also had like different shift differentials available depending on which type of shift and which shift and where you went and if it was last minute and things like that. So there were a lot of differentials involved in that, but the base for the agency was $16. Now, since I have moved from Indiana to Michigan, I have noticed that certain facilities in Michigan in certain different areas pay more, or like where I live right now, they pay less than $16 an hour, even though they are kind of in crisis mode here because they have a shortage. They are using majority, like 90% of the staff at our local facilities seem to be agency. However, where my mother lives, which is in downstate Michigan, I live in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, downstate Michigan, I have seen CNA positions advertising for like $18 or $19 an hour, which is kind of crazy because I've never seen CNAs in the state of Indiana get paid that much unless they are agency, and these are just staff positions. So part of that I think has to do with COVID and things like that. But to get back to your original question, I think it would depend on the area you live in, what kind of housing situation you have. Like, do you own a house? Do you have a mortgage? Do you have to pay rent? If it's in a big city, rents are higher in big cities. For example, currently I live kind of in a very rural area, and what I was paying for an apartment before I moved into my godmother's house, which is where I live right now, I was paying $525 for a very, very small apartment. And that included everything but electric. And, when I lived in Indiana, I was renting a house, a 1-bedroom house, for $780 plus all utilities. And yeah, it depends on like what kind of bills you have. Do you have a car payment? Are you paying student loans or things like that? It just kind of depends on your personal situation. I would say that if you have a budget set up for yourself, it's definitely possible to live off of that CNA salary, depending on what type of facility you work in, how much you're getting paid per hour. There's a lot of factors that go into like affordability of living. But I definitely think it's possible if you, like I said, set up a budget for yourself, write down all your bills and what you need to pay and when, figure out rent, find a living situation that works for you. Like I said, it definitely is going to depend on your personal situation. So I can't really say for sure that it would work for you. Like I said, it depends on like what type of housing situation you have. Do you have student loans? Do you have debts that you need to pay off? Do you have a car payment? Things like that are going to be important for you to figure out if it's going to be feasible for you to live off of that salary. Like I said, the least that I've gotten paid is $10.10 an hour. And that was when I first started out. And the most I have gotten paid was in the state of Indiana, and that was $16 an hour. And that didn't include any shift differentials. That was the base pay as an agency CNA where I could make my own schedule. So definitely look into different options. If you want to get paid more, I would say check out working agency or travel CNA jobs, or like a PRN per diem type position, because you tend to get more pay, but beware that like PRN or per diem tend to not offer you benefits. So you have to kind of be careful with that as well. Hopefully this answers your question, or was at least a little bit helpful to get you on the track to figuring out, you know, if you and your husband could live, or you and your wife. I don't know if this is the husband or the wife asking this question, but hopefully this helps you figure out if it would be something feasible for you. So anyways, if you guys have any other questions you would like me to address in a future video, please leave them in the comments below. And if you have any topics you would like me to talk about in the future, please let me know that as well. And I would be glad to get something filmed for you. And with that being said, I will talk to you guys next time.